So Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis' body is looking at assault, looking at embezzlement, looking at fraud, grand theft, and even mayhem for damaging her mom's face. She's in so much trouble and going to prison for a long time. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Doug Defense, where a real-life lawyer talks about fake stuff. I'm Billy Business, and with me, as always, is Doug.
What'd you do, man? What did you do?
Did you eat a fortune cookie? Oh, I'm so much better.
Oh, my hair's back.
Yeah.
Sweet. Hey, you look pretty good in my shirt.
I love this shirt. It's cool. Thanks.
Nice job.
You look sharp. You could be a lawyer in that.
No, I have the same education as you.
Right.
If you haven't noticed by now, today we are talking about Freaky Friday, baby.
Oh, my favorite.
Your favorite movie. Doug, let's get freaky.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, so is this movie. It came out in 2003, stars Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis, Mark Harmon, and your favorite and mine, Chad Michael Murray.
Yeah, I love Jake. He's great.
Yeah.
Chad Michael Murray, I think you're awesome, by the way. Jake, you suck.
Yeah. As we go on, you're going to find that Doug has a big Jake issue, which, yeah, well, maybe not a court of law problem, but a court of public opinion for sure.
A court of Jake problem.
A court of Jake problem. So the sequel, Freakier Friday, should be out in theaters by the time that this episode airs.
Yeah, I mean, audiences have been clamoring for this for
22 years.
I mean, just banging on Jamie Lee's door. Just come on.
I've been on pins and needles waiting for Freakier Friday, so who knows if it's going to come.
And Lindsay Lohan looks nice.
She looks great. She's having her Lohanaissance right now.
Right.
Yeah, I'm all for the Lohanaissance.
Hashtag Lohanaissance.
So, look, as much as I would love to hear your review of this movie,
right.
We are not a review show.
Of course.
We are a legal show.
Yes.
And this is an interesting one, and the reason why that we wanted to do this, by we I mean me, is because body swap is a crazy popular genre. There's a lot of different examples of it. But in a court of law, I feel like this is going to be a little interesting. So let's get into it right now. So first and foremost, I think we need to know Anna is Lindsay Lohan, and she's in her mom's body. So there's kind of some things that start to pop up here with identity fraud, because the first thing that she really does is she has to go see patients because her mom, Jamie Lee Curtis, is a therapist.
Right.
So just in terms of like, let's take the body swap out for just a second.
Yeah.
Let's just take, I'm just a person that does not have any sort of therapist or medical license, but I go in and I see patients and they are under the assumption that I am a licensed therapist. What are we looking at there?
We're looking at multiple felony counts and lots of state prison time. So if you're practicing without a license, whether it's law, whether it's therapy, whether it's medicine, whether it's any other practice area that requires a license, it's serious stuff. And there's definitely been examples of prosecutors who have thrown the book at folks who have tried to do stuff like that.
Well, wait a minute. You said law, right?
Yeah.
But you can represent yourself in court, so how is that not?
You totally can represent yourself in court, but if you went in your strikingly dashing suit and pretended to be Billy Business Esquire, attorney at law, they would throw you right out. I love which part of that I got you at. But I mean, truly, like, you can go and represent yourself. You can't go and represent yourself as an attorney.
But what if
and you couldn't charge?
Wait.
Yeah, let's hear it.
But what if I'm just saying, what if I could convince someone like, look, I'm not classically trained as a lawyer, but I think I have the chops. Can someone like be like, look, this guy is not a licensed lawyer, but I want him to represent me?
Nope.
No?
Just nope.
So you can only do yourself?
Yes.
Okay. This does bring up an interesting kind of counterpoint, though. So, we're talking about practicing without a license. That's one thing. But this is kind of different. So now we're shifting to identity fraud. So let me ask you this. the likelihood of this happening is near impossible. But somehow, if you're a therapist and you find your doppelganger, right? Looks just like you.
Right.
Just like you.
Twins. Let's use twins as an example. I like that. Identical twins.
See, now we're moving into Parent Trap territory.
Right. Exactly.
Oh, I'm going to get Doug, dude. Part of the Lohan Sands.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay, so let's say that you get someone that looks just like you. They're pretending to be the therapist. But that's also like, do therapists have the same doctor-patient confidentiality that anyone else has? Because I mean, essentially, like, there's almost like she's doing two things, right? She's practicing without a license, and she's hearing these people's private thoughts that even though she's her mom, she's still pretending to be her mom.
Yeah, and if using the twin sister analogy, I think is probably the best way to get this. If it was, Anna the twin instead of Anna, the body-possessed, daughter mom. Then
daughter mom. That's very Appalachian of you.
Well, but then there's all kinds of violations, and every one of those patients would have lawsuits against them both for doing all that.
Civil or criminal?
I would think that the patients would have civil, but then the criminal aspect would be practicing as a psychotherapist without a license, and that would be a criminal charge.
Okay, just out of curiosity, what happens if, let's say, Jamie Lee Curtis is exactly who she says she is? Tess is the character name.
Right.
And she just blabs to somebody what her patients told her. Like, what is just straight up, like, breaking confidentiality? What does that even look like?
Breaking confidentiality could be a crime. Depending on what's going on and how it's dealt with, and it gets really sticky. The bigger issue is losing your license to do whatever it is that you want to do. If I told attorney-client privileged information, I could lose my license to practice law. If a doctor or a therapist violates HIPAA, then they could potentially get a hit on their license to practice medicine or psychotherapy or whatever it is that they're licensed for.
Okay, so Anna, again, as her mom, she kind of cancels a lot of stuff. She cancels the dentist.
Right.
She cancels the wedding caterer.
Right.
And she signs clearly a new contract for the Chinese food restaurant to cater. Are any of those legally binding contracts?
So it depends on how we're looking at this, right? Again, if it was twin mom, Anna mom, Lindsay mom, then she's 15.
Okay. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
right? So 15-year-olds can't sign contracts. So the legality of that is that.
Sure.
On the other hand, if I call up my caterer and say you're fired, they're going to move on to a different wedding, to a different event, or whatever they're going to do. So it's not like I can call that back. Probably, so you calling somebody and saying that you're fired is going to be probably enough for the caterer to assume that they are fired and to make some other plans. So there's that. So generally speaking, the rule is minors can't sign contracts. So if it's Anna mom signing or the new contract or not signing the contract, the 15-year-old can't do that.
She would have to have her mom on the contract.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she would be forging her mom's signature, which is identity theft and all of those things as well.
Okay, wait. Maybe I should have asked this up front, but since we're here already, because now we're starting to stack up things.
Right.
We're talking identity fraud. We're talking practicing without a license. We're going to get into some even more stuff here in a second.
Yeah. All the credit card fraud?
All the credit card fraud we'll talk about in just a second here. But let me just ask you, do you, as a lawyer, let's say you believe that this body swap happened. It's never happened in the history of humankind, but you believe them.
Okay.
They tell you believe it. Maybe you even saw it.
Okay.
Are you even going to try to get anyone to believe you? Or are you going to just start being like, well, maybe I'll just try to argue mental illness or something? Like, would you, Doug J. Ridley, try to convince anyone? I just assume J.
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, it's Douglas H.
No, that doesn't sound as...
For those of you at home.
If you want to dox
D.H.
Doug.
Ridley.
Yeah.
Douglas H. Ridley.
Are you going to tell a judge, like, look, I know this is crazy?
No, I'm not going to tell a judge, look, I know this is crazy, but there's body swapping going on here and I can scientifically prove it. No.
Why? If you can prove it, why wouldn't you do that? There's got to be a first time for everything, right?
Right. I would rather be the second person to do that after some precedent has been set.
Okay.
No, I mean, if I had somebody who came into the office tomorrow and with a straight face and all seriousness, listen, I am stuck. I've been stuck in my mom's body for the last 20 years and, and this is what's going on. And now they're accusing me of identity theft. And the person you see in front of you is not me. Well, I'm going to get a psych eval and then I'm going to have a psychiatrist say that they have either a personality disorder issue or a multiple personality disorder issue or something along those lines where they have, a second persona inside their brain that is someone else and get a doctor to establish that they actually believe that and then take whatever road I need to take down the line. It doesn't go as fun and peppy at that point. It goes a little dark. There's some state hospitalization, mental institution involved. So it's a little Sarah Connor kind of a treatment. So yeah, but I mean, the good thing is Jamie Lee would get pumped going in there and doing pull-ups off the cot.
Well, at this point, it sounds like
it
sounds like maybe she's not the one as in as much trouble because it's like Lindsay Lohan. Well, we'll get to it. Okay, so you mentioned the credit card.
Yes.
So Lindsay Lohan. This is where it gets confusing.
This is where it gets confusing?
Well, for a majority of the movie, if I say Lindsay Lohan, then I'm actually talking about the mom.
Agreed.
So she's like, don't you dare touch my credit cards.
Right.
Which obviously she's going to, and she does. Like, could she at some point dispute those charges? Actually, here's a real world example. You see this in the news sometimes when it gets like crazy, but it's like kids that take their parents' credit cards and they spend like $42,000 on like downloadable content or Amazon or something, right? But it's like, if you dispute that, are you getting your kid in legal trouble?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So you either have to eat it or
teach your kid a valuable lesson in the juvenile justice system.
But they don't like. What happens?
$42,000 of theft.
Okay, well, she didn't take 42,000 in this movie, but like, let's say it's 5,000.
Yeah, and it looks like, with the amount of bags she has, with the amount of different stores she has, if that's just a kid taking mom's credit card and going and doing all that, forget the body issue, then it's going to be multiple commercial burglaries for going into each business with the intent to steal. It's going to be identity theft for using the card, pretending that you're mom. It's going to be, and there's very specific sections of our California penal code that deal with using someone's credit card without their permission, as well as theft, as well as all of these other things. So there's, if it was just kid taking mom's credit card, there's a laundry list from every single transaction. There's 4 or 5 different charges you can file on every single one of those purchases.
And she does it at least 5 or 6.
It certainly looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, she's what? 15?
She's 15.
So what would happen realistically?
Realistically, probation, a slap on the wrist, and don't steal stuff, and maybe having to, do some counseling and some therapy, and don't steal stuff. Stealing stuff is bad, and that kind of thing. Most of the parents that I work with in juvenile cases are worried about the it being on their kid's record moving forward. And there's even ways of dissolving that if you can put the kid on the right path and move forward. I love doing those cases because you can actually take a kid who's going down a bad path, course correct them, and that's what the juvenile justice system is designed to do, is to course correct a kid and put them on the right path and move it forward. Their brains aren't even developed yet. So, they need to get that rehabilitation, and our juvenile justice system is designed to do that. So there's at least that positive aspect of it.
And those records are like sealed
They
when
are.
you're under 18, right?
Yeah.
So kind of no harm, no foul, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Do you get to keep the stuff that you stole?
Probably not. No.
No, you have to give it back?
Well, you could either give it back or you could pay for it. And mom could just pay for it. I mean, if it's $5,000 worth of stuff, that's probably easier. But, then the issue is the way that they become aware of that would be looking at camera footage and seeing 15-year-old kid coming in chewing bubblegum and, buying a bunch of shoes and purses at Nordstrom, right?
So more likely what would happen then in this case is that if Jamie Lee Curtis, let's say they swap back and now they're who they're supposed to be, if she calls her credit card to dispute those charges, now she's potentially looking at a fraud case, right?
She's kind of like Manana in Friends at that point, because at that moment, what they'll do is they'll take the camera footage and they'll show that it was her at the register, even though her hair's different and she's got piercings that she didn't have before, and which we'll get to. But I mean, and then potentially they could prosecute her for fraudulently claiming that her card was stolen when clearly you can see it's Jamie Lee Curtis.
Is that a felony?
That's all.
Depending on the dollar amount?
Kind of depending on the dollar amount, kind of depending on how it would be charged and how it would be dealt with. But, if I make a false report to my credit card company that all of those purchases at Disneyland last weekend were fake, they're going to pull the Disneyland footage and they're going to see, that was bald guy with a beard at every single one of those counters with a Doug Defense t-shirt on. So I think that probably it is Doug. So, yeah, and so I would get in trouble for all of that too.
Okay. All right. Well, you brought up something. You said ear piercing.
I did.
So this is where, to me, it could start to get really dicey if, for some reason, mom and daughter had a real falling out and they wanted to get nasty. But at that point, if you pierce someone's ear without their consent, imagine they're asleep or passed out or whatever. You just do it. What is that charge? What are we looking at?
It's technically a charge called mayhem. And I'm not talking about the insurance guy mayhem. What I'm talking about is disfiguring a part of a person's face. Like if I do something that causes you a major scar on your face, that's considered mayhem. And it's one of the most serious felonies that you can charge. So, I mean, we're talking, does an ear piercing count? Is that
I was going to say, it closes up, though, if you leave it.
Kind of.
She didn't, like, Mike Tyson tattoo the side of her face.
Which would be so awesome. Oh, my God. But no, it doesn't always, completely, close up completely.
Is your earring still in there?
It's not in there, but I can still feel where it was back in the olden times when I had hair. So, solo earring was super
Comment
cool.
if you want to see Doug's earring photos, and we'll put that in the next episode.
I'll have to track that down. We definitely do have Doug with hair photos. I have that recently.
I saw one.
Doug dating.
Yeah.
Hair photos.
That was
good
trip.
Stuff. Yeah.
That was a Freaky Friday. Then I saw it.
That certainly was. But yeah, the question would be, is it disfiguring? At a bare minimum, it is causing a hole in a person's body against their will, and it's an assault.
Okay.
And so the question then becomes what level of assault and how serious it is. But that was really the moment in watching this movie for the very first time as a grown adult, as a lawyer.
Notice how we skipped the part where I said, what do you remember about this movie?
Yeah, because I watched it for you, Billy,
Thank you.
because you wanted to do Freaky Friday. But
I love it.
And for all of you who love Freaky Friday, I apologize. It was a terrible movie. But the oh no. But the whole aspect of the assault with the earring and all of that kind of stuff, like that was the moment that my wife and I looked at each other and was like, this kind of isn't funny at this point. Like it's funny, but she's having to go to her wedding tomorrow. And like she just cut off all her hair and pierced her ear, and like you can't just take that back. And her wedding is in like 2 days.
So again, assuming that they had a major falling out.
Right. Let's assume that she fell asleep completely drunk off her ass on the couch.
Okay.
Right. And she comes in and Anna comes in, cuts her hair, puts a little color in it, and pierces her ears.
It was a hell of a lot of whiskey to get.
Well, yeah,
drunk,
maybe
sure.
some propofol as well. But you know, I mean, that's serious.
But okay, so we've talked about on this show before too. It's like you have to claim damages, or you have to prove damages, right? So how? And you're saying, you know, this is serious because, you know, her wedding's in 2 days and her photos are ruined because her hair is different and everything. It's like, what? How much is a bad haircut worth in a court of law?
Why do you ask?
Would you even know?
I wouldn't. But in order, the legal principle of needing to have damages attached is more for a civil lawsuit. So if they, like you said, had major falling out and she was going to sue her 15-year-old daughter for damages.
You ruined my wedding day.
You ruined my wedding day. I don't know an attorney who would take that case, because even though it is like from a civil perspective.
Okay.
Because you're right. I mean, what's the damage? You know, obviously didn't wake up, obviously didn't feel it, obviously, you know, so there's all of that part of it, right? She didn't have to go through any of that.
Couple that though with canceling the caterer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, but I do think that if a 15-year-old kid had found a drunk mom passed out on the couch and pierced their ears and cut their hair, that's got to, and the mom was mad enough, that's got to be some police involvement. Definitely. I mean, and I can think of several different charges. I mean, it's battery, it's assault, it's, you know, all of those offensive touching things.
Overkill. Like,
well,
I feel like if I was a judge, I'd be like, that was not a good thing. You did a bad thing, but it's also a haircut. You could have cut her finger off.
So let's twist it slightly. Let's say that it's not a mom and a daughter.
Okay.
Let's say that you passed out on the couch and I came in, shaved your head so it looked like me, and gave you, you know, a bunch of piercings all the way up and down your ear.
Okay. Sure.
We probably wouldn't be friends anymore.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah. Or you would dig it. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know, no judging.
Sometimes I have to be knocked out of the branch to change. I'm very set in my ways.
Right.
So,
right.
But anyways,
when a door closes, another opens.
Continue.
But if I did that to somebody, like if I'm a frat guy at a party and I did that to someone or something along those lines, you bet you would want that person prosecuted because, you know, again, that is an offensive touching that caused some sort of significant bodily injury, a hole in a person's body. I think you've got a really good argument there to prosecute the person who does that.
Okay. I just like maybe it's just because I've seen lately, like, you know, pranks where the one I keep saying is people pushing someone into a pool and then they end up like paralyzed. You know, it's like to me that seems more like punishable than like cutting somene's hair.
Well,
and
it would be. And you're right. And I'm not suggesting that cutting someone's hair is as significant. I think if all it was getting them an ugly haircut. I mean, not
an ear piercing.
And not even that Jamie Lee was. I mean, it's great.
Not,
it's Jamie Lee. But if it was just a haircut, I think you would have a hard time getting someone's attention about that. I think when we start talking about the puncturing of flesh in order to have an earring, I think that's where it goes to the next level.
Okay. So unfortunately, because this is a body swap comedy, we got to talk about the body swap element in itself. Now, I know you already said you would never tell a judge that it happened.
Right.
But just think about it as you were watching the movie and kind of half angry with me, half watching.
Right. I think what I said was I wanted to pluck out my own eyeball and shove it in my ear canal so I didn't have to see or hear it anymore.
But
it's such a good movie and we like Jake so much.
Okay, so let's just cut to kind of the broadest form of this question. I'm really just asking your opinion at this point. because there is no body swap legal precedent that we are aware of.
Yeah, by the way, Sharky978 hashtag, when you put in your comments, come on, guys, this is body swap and it's not really real. I'm going to eat you for breakfast. So go ahead and go nuts in the comments because I'm ready for you.
Oh, that's a challenge.
Well, we had some fun over the weekend.
Oh, you were feeling salty.
I was like those monkeys from Superman.
Yeah, you were just So let me ask you this. Do you feel that a body swapped individual is legally responsible for what they do while they're swapped?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because and this is getting really out there, we've talked about this before, like who can be held liable for things, what level of sentience creates that, and so much of that depends upon the person's mental state, right? And so, if Anna is in Jamie Lee's body and doing things, it's Anna that's doing that, and Anna who's responsible. Now, of course, there's so many reasons why that doesn't work, except for the fact that I would go back just on the full legal principle of sentience, who people are, what makes them who they are, and I would hold that sentience responsible for what happens.
So a big point of contention. We're going to talk about Jake as a character, but a big point of contention in this movie seems to be Jake's motorcycle. So my question to you is, if Tess, who is the mom, is in Anna's body, and she gets on the motorcycle, if they had an accident, could Lindsay Lohan in Jamie Lee Curtis's body consent to her own treatment, even though she's technically a minor?
Yes, because all of that. Oh my God! How does he have a Ducati? He works at a coffee shop, and he's what, a janitor at the school? Or
I'm not sure what he does at the school, because I've never seen a kid have a part-time job at a school.
I think Jake has some side work that he's doing.
He might.
I'm just saying. Look at that hair. It was so not clean and sexy.
You were so jealous of the hair, man. You gotta let it go. You gotta let it go. I guess it's just another way of framing
Tess's body.
Yeah.
And the reason why I was so quick to say yes is because so much of that comes from the perspective of the medical provider who is looking at the person, right? Mm-hmm. And they see Tess's body walk in, and Tess says, "Hey, I need you to, put a cast on my broken arm." You wouldn't get that doctor in trouble for what seems like a very reasonable request from somebody who very clearly appears to be old enough to give an order for their own medical treatment. So that's why that's where I'm coming from on that one.
Yeah, I guess, again, it's just kind of like, this one is interesting, but it's also tough from a legal perspective because you don't know how other people are going to respond. To them, nothing is different,
right? Right.
So it's almost like every hypothetical we throw out is like, if after the fact, everyone got on board with the fact that this event actually happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, and if everyone got on board after the fact, then I think you look at the reasonableness of other people's reactions and their behavior, and that's what I would argue. Now, I have been very calm all the way through the episode so far. Please ask me your next question.
All right.
Since we're talking about motorcycle accidents,
let's talk about Jake.
Let's talk about Jake.
You've been hating on Jake for a very long time.
Well, I've only been hating on Jake since I saw him in this movie.
Okay. So Jake, first of all, we've got to determine, not even like as a lawyer, we just need to determine as a peoples, how old is Jake supposed to be in this movie?
Yeah, because
it changes things.
And if you go on the interwebs, you'll see a lot of different people arguing different things. And I think people are arguing for whatever they want Jake to be. Like the older folks, or maybe they really want Jake to be 18 because they want themselves a piece of Jake, and it makes it easier for them to have a crush on boy Jake, who is in high school, who may or may not be 18 years old. I think all of the people that were your age when they saw the movie, they want Jake to be 17 because then he's a high school senior and attainable and woo and all that. So
that's what I was worried about. Is Jake obtainable for me? That's what I was thinking the whole time.
The whole time you were watching the movie, probably. No, I mean, so we know that Jake is older. There's no question, because he in some of his horrible dialogue, he actually even says that, you're so much younger than me, right? You're only 15. And so, because Anna is 15.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And so we know that Jake is older. There's no question that Jake is older. So it's just a question of whether Jake is 17 or 18. And I can give dual answers for why I hate Jake, depending on whether he's 17 or 18. Because for me, it doesn't matter either way.
Well, I've
got solid reasons for both.
I think it does matter because in one way, he's kind of in big trouble.
Right.
In the other way, it's Jamie Lee Curtis who's kind of potentially in trouble. So let's start the conversation with, let's assume Jake is 17.
Great.
All right.
Let's do that.
So Jake has a really weird scene with Jamie Lee Curtis where things get kind of, okay, wait, let me take this back. The scene with Jamie Lee Curtis is only weird with no context because we know he's really talking to Lindsay Lohan, but that's not the problem part. The problem part comes about 2 or 3 scenes later where Lindsay Lohan, who is really Jamie Lee Curtis in Lindsay Lohan's body, kisses him to keep him on a leash for her daughter.
Continue setting it up because
first
it's
let's
almost
start,
meaning I don't even have to say.
First, let's start with I don't want to ask this question.
So here's the
Please
answer.
Just pick up
here's
the
answer. Here's the answer.
Okay.
So if Jake is 17,
yes,
all right, him kind of crushing early on Anna, and at this point it's mom in Anna's body, right? And mom being like, "Ew, go away from me," and at that point, but him kind of being interested in mom Anna. Right, so he's a little bit in. He's
put off by mom Anna.
Right. But at the very start,
at the very beginning,
right? They're just just about to kind of start making a connection and whatever.
Okay.
So from Jake's perspective, he's crushing on a 15-year-old, and let's say that he's 17, and that happens. And so high school senior, high school sophomore, not overly dramatic and not overly horrible or anything along those lines. So Jake then, as a 17-year-old, decides that, and let's just look at it from the viewpoint of Jake for a second.
Okay.
He decides that the 15-year-old body of Lindsay Lohan was no longer attracted to him because he cares about what's inside.
As most 17-year-olds do.
Clearly.
Yeah.
And so instead, he starts thinking that I don't know how old, that the mom body, the mom person that's in front of him is really,
40s.
Because he cares about what's on the inside, is the attractive one.
Yes.
And the reason why I hate Jake is because of this switch. Okay. And I don't buy or care for 1 second about the whole, he's so sweet because he only cares about what's on the inside or whatever. No, what this guy did is he went to his almost girlfriend's mom's wedding to try to break it up because he decided he was in love with her and did a say anything boombox outside of her house.
Which was really funny.
It was totally funny and so completely inappropriate. And then he breaks into the rehearsal dinner to try to break up the wedding.
I mean, 17-year-olds are crazy,
Jake is indefensible. Absolutely indefensible.
And then hormones are just out of control.
If we say that Jake...
It's a 17-year-old. It could be worse.
I don't understand why you love Jake so much. I'm talking to you right now. I don't understand why you love Jake so much. blow me up in the comments all you want. I just don't get it. He's a guy who crushed on a 15-year-old, then crushed on her mom so much that he went to go try to crashed the rehearsal dinner, tried to break in, and then at the end kissed the 15-year-old. Now, granted, she kissed him, but still.
But
so that then, he would still be interested in the 15-year-old body rather than the mom body.
I am waiting. I'm not so patiently anymore for you to tell me where legally 17-year-old Jake has made any mistake thus far. As far as I know.
No crimes.
Yeah, no crimes. You could crush on a 47-year-old.
You absolutely can. He's just a pig.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. No, it's not illegal. As we've said before, it's not illegal to be a pig or a jerk or anything like that.
You can absolutely.
It doesn't make me like him.
No, you don't. But this isn't Doug defends the character of Jake.
What if it was?
This is not. But here's the thing, though. Yeah. You just said that these characters, in your opinion, are responsible for the actions that they take while in the body of another person.
Right.
Meaning Jamie Lee Curtis, when swapped back, did something really, really icky.
Yeah.
By passionately kissing this boy to keep him on hold for her daughter. That's really that's Jerry Springer level of weird.
Yeah. Mom, why are you kissing my boyfriend? That's how that goes on Jerry Springer.
Right. Yeah. So what here's the thing. We talked about this on the Back to the Future episode, which may or may not have come out before this one. So I don't know. This is either coming later or it just happened.
Right.
But it's like, I almost don't want to dig too far into the real world implications, because then it gets really, really dark and icky and gross.
Yeah.
But that being said, a kiss between a 45-year-old, 47, whatever it is, and a 17-year-old, from what you've seen in cases and the law, like, if that's the only thing that they have, like, is she going to jail for that?
It's really, really unlikely.
Okay.
Really unlikely. The laws that protect some sort of physical contact between a 17-year-old and an adult, right? The 17-year-old and anyone over 18 usually involve more significant romantic activity than a kiss.
Okay.
There's arguably one section that's a child annoyance section, but it's very rarely used and certainly very rarely applied to a 17-year-old and a 45-year-old. If a 17-year-old and a 45-year-old, I mean, let's make it less ick. Let's say it's a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old. I have people all the time. Well, isn't there some Romeo and Juliet statute? Guess what, friends? There's not a Romeo and Juliet statute. Break up with your high school sweetheart.
I guess then that flips, because we're talking about Jake being 17.
Right.
Now let's say he's 18 and he does kiss Lindsay Lohan at the end of this movie.
And if 18-year-old if 18-year-old kisses the 15-year-old, still that part of it is so very rarely ever used, this child annoyance aspect of things. That's usually more frequently used for people that are targeting minors online or something really dark like that. So when I actually prosecuted these cases, if somebody brought in a case to my desk and said, hey, an angry dad wants to bust his 47-year-old friend for kissing his 17-year-old daughter, I would say, was it just a kiss? We have other much more serious things to handle than something like that.
Yeah.
It's not appropriate, but I mean, as far as whether it would be actually charged in court as a crime, unless there was significantly more romantic activity than that.
Which also, too, again, all the way goes back to, like, you'd have to prove it, that the body swap happened and that it wasn't her.
Right.
Although they're going to have a really uncomfortable conversation at some point where it's like, hey, I had to keep your boyfriend warm for you for just a second. That's gotta come. If that's not in Freakier Friday, I'm not buying a ticket.
I really hope they address it. I mean, it doesn't look like I watched the trailer because you asked me to, and
I didn't ask you to. I just told you it was available.
It doesn't look like Jake is with her. So
right.
So it failed or whatever.
I mean,
or maybe he's still pining away for the Jamie.
Again,
what if he's still pining away with the boombox outside the house, wanting Jamie Lee Curtis 20 years later?
All I'm hearing from you right now is you talking yourself into going to see Freakier Friday.
No.
Okay, okay, so I know you hate Jake. I know you hate Jake.
I hate Jake.
But I don't think Jake is the real villain of this movie.
I don't think so either.
I think we have the mom from the Chinese restaurant who set this all in motion. So if you're not familiar with Freaky Friday, or if you just need a little refresher, this all kind of comes about because Anna and Tess, they're just kind of butting heads, especially before Tess's wedding. They go
You're ruining my life.
Yes, which like teenagers say that,
right?
They do. My 5-year-old has said it to me, so I know it's possible. So they go to the Chinese food restaurant days before the wedding. It's like a family dinner. And they give the mom has some kind of like magical scheme where she gives them the fortune cookie, and that's what sets this whole thing off in motion.
They're going to be so much better for it because they're going to learn a lesson about love and understanding each other's feelings.
Right. And as soon as they can accept each other for who they are, the curse is reversed.
Right. Which apparently involves a toast. Spoilers.
Yes. So, okay, trying to find some real world equivalent. Let's assume they get back to their bodies. They're angry because they know this is what happened. What did she do? Like, what's the closest equivalent of like what this mom at the Chinese food restaurant did?
She poisoned them.
Poisoning. Okay.
It's poisoning. I mean, it's certainly, I mean, if we're going to buy that the body swap actually happened, it's way worse than me putting LSD in your drink. I mean, this actually caused a metaphysical soul swapping into somebody else's body. But we see people prosecuted all the time for putting, acid or mushrooms or something like that into somebody else's drink, sometimes for really nefarious purposes, sometimes because they think it's funny. I would argue that no matter how well-intended the mom is, she's good for poisoning these people, and she's going to prison for it.
What's the sentence for, especially if it's like non-lethal?
Right. So, I mean, I've seen poisoning cases with people just putting LSD in somebody else's drink. And that can be anything from multiple years in jail to on a first offense with no prior criminal record, being on probation, but still probably some jail time.
But clearly she's done it before because the doctor's like, no, not again.
Not again. Yeah. And I'm guessing that someone in the family has the poison recipe for fortune cookies, and otherwise, Freakier Friday is going to be, just a sitcom.
I'm not sure how. There's like a 4-way swap in the new one. So,
my God.
She's baking up a lot of fortune cookies.
We can barely keep track of just mom and daughter in this. Can you even imagine trying to do an episode with so it's Jake in Anna's body, but Tess in
Look,
Grandma's
I
body.
want to see Freakier Friday, but I will tell you, I watched the trailer and I was like, I'm already confused on who is who at this point.
Wow, it's gonna be great. I'm sure
it's great. I hope it's by the time this episode comes out, I hope it had a killer opening weekend.
Me too.
Number one at the box office,
and I hope it sees Chad Michael Murray with some. He grew his greasy locks back out for the movie.
Good
I mean,
for him,
he's not screwing around.
Dude, smoke him if you got him. If I could grow my hair out long again.
Well, clearly, if I could grow out my hair long again. But honestly, setting just for the Jake lovers out there, I actually loved him in Agent Carter. So him as the old S.H.I.E.L.D. agent in Agent Carter, he was absolutely amazing. And his hair is washed most of the time.
So it's not Chad Michael Murray. It's just Jake.
No.
Okay, so we've been talking a lot about body swap, and you said as a lawyer that you would never go to a judge and try to be like, look, this is what happened.
For sure. Yeah.
But what if your clients did? Like, what would happen in that case? Obviously you kind of prep your clients before a trial, so it would have to be kind of a bombshell if they went up there and been like, Your Honor, here's what actually happened. But what would happen at that point? I mean, if they were like, have you ever seen a case where someone kind of flips the script as they're called to the witness stand?
Oh, sure.
And it sounds like absolutely absurd.
Oh, sure. Well, and even before a full-blown trial, we see this happen in court from time to time. I had a client once say that he really wanted to say his piece to the judge and tell him why he was bad and racist and horrible and I mean, we had a female Hispanic judge, and I didn't think that would be a very compelling argument in that case. So, there was that. But that the one of my favorite gifs to use in comments and stuff is the one of Homer Simpson just going back into the
bush, yeah.
And that's kind of what you do in that moment. I've had clients come in and say just absolutely crazy stuff. And at that point, you just kind of take 3 steps back and let it all play out. I had a client not that long ago who was in court who started talking to the prosecutor while we were standing there in open court. And the judge admonished him, hey, you need to keep quiet, and anything that you say needs to happen through your attorney today, okay? And they'll admonish people to be quiet. Now, if it's all of a sudden somebody saying, Your Honor, my attorney won't let me talk, and I need to let you know that I'm actually Billy Patterson, and I am in Doug Ridley's body today, and I am not liable for what happens at all, and whatever, they would say thank you, and they would either take you back into the pokey, back into custody in handcuffs, depending on how much you insisted on saying your piece to the court,
okay,
or we would step back. We would declare you incompetent to stand trial and that you had some major mental illness. And then we would shift gears and do a psychological analysis and all that.
I guess that was going to be the follow-up, because it's like, we're talking about body swap, and obviously, as far as we know, that doesn't really happen. Right. But multiple personality disorder is a real thing.
Absolutely.
So what do you do when it's like, I'm Billy, but my multiple personality, one of them, we'll call it Jake. So like,
we had
Jake,
the brilliant thought at the same time.
Jake killed that guy. I was not in control. I'm in control right now, but I didn't even know it happened. Like, what do you do?
It's like Moon Knight.
Sure, for the 2 comic book people that clicked on the Freaky Friday episode, yes, Moon Knight. But it's, they had that whole show with what's her name, the United States of Terror show. Remember where it was like she was the mom and they had all the.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, but multiple personality disorder is a real thing.
It's a great show.
And it is, and if someone is exhibiting those sorts of symptoms, we would get them diagnosed and we would figure out how to handle the case from there. If I was involved as a criminal defense attorney, and obviously it's more complicated than a bipolar disorder or schizophrenic or something along those lines, but it's. It's a severe mental health disorder, so we would go down that route in court.
Have you ever seen one of those cases before?
No.
So
thankfully,
fairly rare.
I mean, tons of other mental health diagnoses. So I've had tons of clients who have come across our desk with schizophrenia, with bipolar disorder, with PTSD, with almost every other type of mental health disorder. But I have yet to see a multiple personality disorder come across.
But even like blacking out to a certain extent would kind of sometimes you hear about people who commit crimes that's like, I completely blacked out like as it happened, and I kind of came to and I was bloody and everything.
And I definitely have clients that have I definitely have had clients who have said that to me and shared that with me. And most of the time it just doesn't really play out, because most of the time when folks are blacked out and they don't remember what they did, it's usually because of some choices that they made before they blacked out. Usually it's from excessive alcohol use and they just don't remember what happened.
I was just going to say, like, assuming, like, let's say Jamie Lee Curtis got caught for fraud or whatever, any of these crimes. And they were, if you were like, don't tell the judge or the jury that you body swapped, that's horrible. And they were just like, I completely blacked out. I have no memory of this happening. Like, how does a jury, from your experience, typically take something where it's just like, I don't even remember doing that thing that clearly I must have done?
Well, I think it goes back to what the reason might be, because it might be a neurological disorder. It might be a mental health disorder. It might be from substance abuse or something along those lines. So it really depends on why that happened and what theory that they're arguing about why. And it definitely does happen, but it takes a lot to excuse the behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into our fan questions. Just a couple here. This one is from Deborah. If Anna in her mom's body, so this is if Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis's body got arrested, would her mom have the criminal record? I would assume yes.
Yeah. Because they would do fingerprints. And really, that's how we track people through the system, is using fingerprints. So we don't have a soul body swapping way of catching it. It's fingerprints.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then Jared asked, we kind of touched on this a little bit, but we talked about it from a criminal perspective. Jared asked, could you sue a Chinese restaurant for giving you a fortune cookie that swaps your soul? I mean,
100%.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Because, you'd have a hard time proving that it swapped your soul. But if you could just prove that it laid you up on the couch for a couple of days, you can sue a restaurant for food poisoning or other types of intentional mystical poisoning as well.
But even if it's like accidental poisoning,
you can sue them. My friends that own restaurants get those sorts of claims. None of my friends that own restaurants have claims that they have food poisoning, but I definitely have heard of that happening, and that wouldn't surprise me at all.
But your insurance would probably cover
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would it cover mystical soul swapping fortune cookies?
I've not seen that as a claim in one of the paragraphs of insurance contracts. But
to your point, though, to them it could just be explained away as like, no, you never actually swapped bodies. This was all just a crazy acid trip.
Right, and if it was, then they're good for the poisoning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, see, this wasn't so bad, was it, Doug?
I always have fun talking about horrible movies with you. It's never a problem.
You told me that you laughed out loud a couple of times.
I did. I absolutely did. I will admit that. I did laugh out loud a couple of times.
Okay, so now we get to the end of the show. This is where you, Doug, the defense attorney, are going to decide if you're going to take the case or not.
Yes.
So this is going to get really confusing really fast. So, Anna, which is Jamie Lee Curtis in Lindsay Lohan's body, for kissing an underage boy. I guess you could say reckless endangerment of her child for letting her do all the things she does. She also lets her go to the office, so she's conspires in a way for the fraud or for the malpractice or whatever you want to call it. So Lindsay Lohan's body, Jamie Lee Curtis in Lindsay Lohan's body. Are you taking that case?
I'm so confused. So I think the answer is no.
Okay.
Just because I don't know.
No.
No.
Okay.
No, even though, she's doing her best under these wacky circumstances, she did send her daughter in to go treat patients all day.
That's pretty bad.
That's really bad.
Why wouldn't you just call in sick?
Yeah. And then
we get it. There's the one patient. But...
and then she kisses Jake. So there's that.
Poor Mark Harmon.
Mark Harmon is the coolest dude ever in this show. And if there's anybody that I do like and respect, it's the fact that guy is ride or die with Tess. Yeah.
Okay. So now we have Anna inside Jamie Lee Curtis Tess's body.
Yes.
So for the crimes of, you said it was assault,
right?
With the
mayhem,
credit card fraud,
mayhem. Yeah.
But she is a kid.
Yeah.
But not a kid. Are you taking that case?
If it was twin sister status, maybe because I like working juvenile cases. I really enjoy doing those. And there's usually a nice, easy, clean way of getting them through a bad process. But again, like if I'm going to have to present the body swapping stuff, then no, I'm tapped out.
Okay. So, the Chinese restaurant owner for poisoning our favorite ladies with her fortune cookies.
I'm honestly on the fence about this one because there's a part of me that doesn't want to have anything to do with it and stay far away because who knows when they need to teach their lawyer a life lesson, and then it's Freakier Friday in the courtroom. But I also am kind of curious about like making a good solid business connection with these people. That, I mean, what's the other fortune cookies do?
Oh, I know.
Right?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
what if one of
them
gives me Superman powers and I'm, I mean, we don't know. There could be. I'm taking their case.
I would say
I want to go deep on the cookie magic.
I would say that's probably the easiest case to take too, because it's like, well, you'd have to prove that they were body swapped, and that seems like an impossible thing to prove.
Exactly. Let's go.
That sounds like easy money.
And then the I'm sure they have poisoning insurance with crazy mom around. Yeah. So
Last but certainly not least,
let's have it.
If he's 18,
okay,
for being a child annoyer or whatever he's called. Child annoyance, Jake, because I mean that's really the only thing that he does, possibly dealing drugs to get the Ducati since he works at a coffee shop / kind of janitor.
Do I get to force him to wash his hair before he comes to court?
I don't. I'm not even joking. That's a great question. How much say do you have over what your clients look like?
Oh, I tell them, but I mean, I'm not going to wash their hair for them.
It's not part of the Ridley Legal Defense Services?
No, but I mean, I definitely have some folks on the team that would wash Chad Michael Murray's hair, or whatever the heck his name is. No, I'm not defending Jake.
No?
No.
Just cause?
Just cause.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you want to throw another Jake hypothetical? 17-year-old Jake?
No, I mean, 17-year-old Jake, what is he? He has a crime potentially done to him.
Right.
17-year-old Jake doesn't really do anything.
I'm still not representing 17-year-old Jake. I just wanted to have one more hypothetical where I could say I'm not representing Jake one more time.
Clearly Jake is loaded. Why wouldn't you want to take his money?
Well, yeah, I'd have him sell the Ducati.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not?
You gotta, your hate blinds you.
Yes, it does.
Well,
I've been told that.
Hopefully, since Doug is so thumbs down on Jake, hopefully you found this video thumbs up and you'll smash that like button, the subscribe button. Hey, if you are on a jog, if you're in the car, we're also on Apple and Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. So take Doug on the go with you.
Yeah.
If you need a little Jake hate in your day, just to get you motivated and going, put Doug in your pocket.
We'll be your car buddies.
Yeah, that's great. We'll be your connectors. All right. I want to get out of your clothes because that is way more comfortable.
Agreed.
And one of us is due in court in 10 minutes.
Probably.
So,
yes.
I'm Billy Business. Pretty sure that's Doug Ridley. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.